Hi, thanks for watching. And be sure to click that thumbs up down below there. You know that thing right down there? Yeah, click the thumbs up if you like the content. And share it out to your friends and your social media sites, Facebook and Twitter. And help the algorithms get this video recommended to me. Okay, you got it? Thumbs up. Thanks. I appreciate that.
Tell me what it says. I see the handwriting on the wall.
Daniel 5. King Belshazzar made a great feast for 1,000 of his lords and drank wine in front of the 1,000. Belshazzar, when he tasted the wine, commanded that the vessels of gold and of silver that Nebuchadnezzar his father had taken out of the temple in Jerusalem be brought.
Let us feast.
That the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines might drink from them. Then they brought in the golden vessels that had been taken out of the temple, the house of God in Jerusalem. And the king and his lords, his wives, and his concubines drank from them. They drank wine and praised the gods of gold and silver, bronze, iron, wood, and stone.
Now, instead of the blood of bulls and rams, let them flow with foaming wine. To Marduk, the god of our city. Marduk!
Immediately the fingers of a human hand appeared and wrote on the plaster of the wall of the king's palace opposite the lampstand. And the king saw the hand as it wrote. Then the king's color changed, and his thoughts alarmed him. His limbs gave way, and his knees knocked together. The king called loudly to bring in the enchanters, the Chaldeans, and the astrologers. The king declared to the wise men of Babylon,
Whoever reads this and tells me what it means shall be clothed in purple, and have a gold chain placed around his neck, and be made third highest ruler in the kingdom.
The queen, because of the words of the king and his lords, came into the banqueting hall, and the queen declared, There is a man in your kingdom in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. In the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, were found in him. Then Daniel was brought in before the king.
How can I be of service, Highness? Are you Daniel? I am told you are able to give interpretations and solve difficult problems. No human hand has scribed it. No other tongue can interpret it. Tell me what it means. Be it for good or ill.
Then Daniel answered and said before the king, Let your gifts be for yourself, and give your rewards to another. Nevertheless, I will read the writing to the king, and make known to him the interpretation. O king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar your father kingship and greatness and glory and majesty. And because of the greatness that he gave him, all peoples, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would, he killed, and whom he would, he kept alive. Whom he would, he raised up, and whom he would, he humbled. But when his heart was lifted up and his spirit was hardened so that he dealt proudly, he was brought down from his kingly throne, and his glory was taken from him. He was driven from among the children of mankind, and his mind was made like that of a beast, till he knew that the Most High God rules the kingdom of mankind, and sets over it whom he will. And you, his son, Belshazzar, have not humbled your heart, though you knew all this. But you have lifted up yourself against the Lord of heaven. This is the interpretation of the matter. Mene, God has numbered the days of your kingdom and brought it to an end. Tekel, you have been weighed in the balances and found wanting. Peres, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then Belshazzar gave the command, and Daniel was clothed with purple. A chain of gold was put around his neck, and a proclamation was made about him that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. That very night, Belshazzar, the Chaldean king, was killed.
I I will render unconditional obedience to Adolf Hitler.
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
I dream of going up to her and sitting down next to her, taking her in my arms and saying, "Look at me, listen to me. You will survive. You will have a good family of your own and 3 children. And as hard as it might be to imagine, your daughter will grow up and become the President of the United States. America is the greatest country in the world. And from tonight going forward, together, we will make America even greater than it has ever been."
We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We have made America powerful again, our military is so powerful. We have made America wealthy again. Look at what's happening. 401ks are doing very well. We have made America strong again. We have made America proud again. We have made America safe again. And we will make America great again.
It was just 3 years ago that Joe Biden was considered too decrepit, too corrupt, too out of touch ever to be president. And that wasn't just the view from the right, by the way. They mostly stayed out of it. That's what faithful Democrats were saying. In 2019, 3 separate neoliberal news outlets, The Guardian, The Week, and CNN, all published op-eds with the exact same headline: "Why Joe Biden Shouldn't Run for President." Other publications made the same point with equal vehemence. "I really like Joe Biden, but he shouldn't run for president," said a columnist for USA Today. "Joe Biden is not helping," declared Rolling Stone, as if the goal was to help. And actually, Biden's family agreed with this. This is true. They did not want him to be president either. Some of Biden's closest relatives assured friends that Biden was running merely to work off the grief from his son's death 2 years before. It made a kind of sense. He needed to get out on the road and clear his head, and a campaign was the way to do that. He knew he wasn't going to win. And for months, it seemed all but assured that he wouldn't win. Biden's first debate performance in June was widely written off as a disaster. It seemed pretty obvious he had zero chance at the nomination. And then Bernie Sanders started to win primaries. For the second presidential cycle in a row, Sanders proved to be the only Democrat in the field with legitimate grassroots support. Donors saw this and they panicked. The guy who hates billionaires? What's he going to do to Wall Street? So Sanders was unacceptable to the people who fund the Democratic Party. But there was a problem. What were the options? Pete Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke? No. Both had turned out to be lighter than air. Elizabeth Warren? Double no. Kamala Harris was horrible on every level. Absolutely nobody liked Kamala Harris, and for good reason. So it turned out to be Joe Biden by default. Get off the Biden signs. We're all in. And of course, the media got the message immediately. By the time he was inaugurated, here's what the press corps was telling you about Joe Biden.
Anybody who has any connection to reality about what is going on around them should have watched that and said, the adults are back in the room.
It seems as though we have a professional adult once again in the White House who's just simply doing the work.
Really, the theme, I would say, is the adults are back.
Still, it is a relief to have adults in charge.
Now we have adults in the White House.
Okay, the adults are back in the room.
There is a sense, I think, the world over that the adults have returned.
We have an adult in the White House now, and it's glorious.
These people. Never an original thought among them.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
Ooh, I'm not a biologist. You following this? So only a biologist is allowed to tell you what a woman is.
Let's speak truth about what we've all been talking about the last few days and again this evening, which is that Supreme Court process. Let's speak the truth. It was a sham. And a disgrace. Let's speak the truth, that it was a denial of justice for the women of this country.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No,
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Country.
How amusing. To recap, in 2019, it was, quote, a sham and a disgrace to doubt a woman's word because by the virtue of their biology, women did not lie.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
I can't.
You can't?
That's what it was to be a woman, utterly truthful all the time. Joe Biden agreed with this. Women were very different from men. Inherently, he told us so. And that's why you weren't allowed to hit them. Watch.
We, in fact, have to fundamentally change the culture of how women are treated. No man has a right to raise a hand to a woman in anger other than in self-defense, and that's rarely ever occurs. And so we have to just change the culture, period, and keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it.
For the women of this country.
We, in fact, have to fundamentally change the culture of how women are treated.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
And so we have to just change the culture.
I can't.
You can't?
Period.
He's an adult. It's glorious. Well, half true. Biden is certainly an adult. He'll be 80 this fall. But no one in Washington thinks the Biden presidency is glorious anymore. They think it's a disaster. Polls show that voters strongly agree.
I'm getting so tired of this woke world.
Joe Biden is now the most unpopular person in virtually any room he enters. If you doubt it, watch this. Shunned. Nobody would talk to him. But Obama blows him off. He acts like Biden's not even there. He has no respect for Joe Biden because at this point, nobody has respect for Joe Biden. Even Biden's most faithful supporters in the press corps have turned on him. Watch this.
For President Biden, the outlook is pretty grim. War abroad, anxiety at home, and inflation at its highest level in 40 years.
Sky-high inflation is erasing bigger paychecks. While hourly earnings are up 5.6% over last year, nearly 1 in 5 workers says they run out of money before they get their next check.
You have historic inflation. You have record gas prices. Americans are feeling it.
Biden's numbers have dropped by double digits with young voters, and they were a big part of his coalition in 2020.
Voter anxiety is about more than rising prices or Russia's war in Ukraine. Violent crime in American cities remains persistently high, and there is a growing problem at the border.
President Biden's approval rating still hasn't found bottom, and it's been slowly trending down all year.
Oh, wait a second. Correction, breaking news. It looks like inflation is real. It's not transitory. It's actually making us poorer. Crime and disorder in the cities are real, too. And guess what? It looks like a totally pointless war with Russia is not as popular as we thought it was. You're not a traitor for not wanting it. All of a sudden, they're admitting all of this. For months, Biden's been telling us that every bad thing you notice around you is, of course, Vladimir Putin's fault, and the media have backed him up. But suddenly, they aren't backing him up anymore. Ready to be shocked again? Watch a group of liberal toadies demolish the Biden White House's favorite talking point. Here it is.
And every time we talk about gas prices, Democrats do, President Biden does, it's always Putin's price hike. They're trying to blame, of course, the Russian president and the invasion of Ukraine for the jump in prices. But of course, as polling suggests, this president is going to take a lot of the blame here.
Biden has called it a Putin price hike, but most Americans aren't buying it.
With the midterms now just a few months away and inflation at a record high, the president is now putting the blame squarely on Vladimir Putin, calling this the Putin price hike. But as Republicans and the president's critics have been quick to note, gas prices were already rising before Russia started this war.
The White House is trying to do both. Blame Putin, blame the oil and gas companies, but Americans just don't agree.
What? Now they tell us Is your head spinning yet? Yeah. Okay, just one more. Here's Sandy Cortez, who has finally turned on Joe Biden. Now, it was just a year and a half ago that Sandy's job was to use all the street cred she'd earned growing up in the leafy suburbs of Westchester and then heading off to Boston University, to use all of that urban credibility to convince the young people that actually Joe Biden was okay. Yeah, he's old and white, but go ahead and vote for him anyway. He's got Sandy's seal of approval. Selling Joe Biden was her job, and of course she did it. She's always been much more a dutiful party apparatchik than a revolutionary. But not anymore. Sandy Cortez sees change coming. If there's one thing she's good at, it's knowing the prevailing wind. So she's happy to attack Biden. Watch this.
We need to acknowledge that this isn't just about middle of the road, an increasingly narrow band of independent voters. But this is really about the collapse in support among young people, among the Democratic base, feeling like they are not, that they worked overtime to get this president elected, and they aren't necessarily being seen.
What you're watching here, as always, is the hive mind at work. Democrats have the same reactions because they have the same instincts. Biden is weak, we must get rid of him. Now, to most people that sounds harsh and unforgiving, but in the animal kingdom, it's an entirely natural response. It's the first rule of dog packs, for example. If a single dog wavers or lags behind, the other dogs will kill him, even if they're from the same litter. Yes, it's fratricide, but it's nothing personal. It's a matter of group survival. And that's exactly how the Democratic Party operates. Individuals are irrelevant to the party. The group is all that matters. No one at the DNC actually cares about Joe Biden or ever has, or for that matter, cares about George Floyd or Greta Thunberg or David Hogg or anyone else they tell you is an irreplaceable hero. All people are expendable. What matters is the party, and the party matters because in numbers there is power. And of course, on some level, Joe Biden knows this. He spent his life in the Democratic Party. He's never worked outside the Democratic Party. So he understands how this ends. Biden can't lead. Therefore, at some point soon, he won't be allowed to lead. It's that simple.
And I'm deeply proud of the work she's doing as First Lady with Joining Forces initiative she started with Michelle Obama when she was Vice President and now carries on.
I've been doing this a long time. But here's the way to look at it. If car prices are too high right now, there are two solutions. You increase the supply of cars by making more of them, or you reduce demand for cars by making America's poorer. That's the choice. You know, the rapidly rising I don't know.
Pete Buttigieg.
I was a foot.
We're the only outfit in the country that is immune. Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitute being sued. Come on.
Impact has been the pandemic. So to that has been the recovery efforts in Jamaica that have been essential to, I believe, what is necessary to strengthen not only the issue of public health, but also the economy.
Have you ever had a dream that you could do so?
Pell Grants have been increased. Yeah, Pell Grants have you increased Pell Grants?
We have definitely extended it's something that I think we need to keep doing, the awareness about what we have to do on Pell Grants, and I can follow up with you on specifically what we've been doing. But I can tell you that when I was in the Senate, I was definitely working on the Pell Grant issue because it can't be what it was when I was at Howard.
I'm Michael Jordan. McDonald's restaurants have given me this time to talk to you about something we both really care about.
Biden's dementia.
But there's been a little change in the arrangement of who's on the stage because of... the First Lady's husband
contracting COVID, but look at this room and what you see. Pardon? That's right. She's fine. It's me. Not together.
No shit, Sherlock.
Stop it. Get some help. McDonald's wants you to give yourself a chance to find out all the wonderful things you really can be. And so do I.
And Don Finn, IBW, and Robert Reiter, Reader. You know, if I can digress for just a second, last night I was on television. I was on the telephone, you know. At any rate, also we've got state leadership here. Lieutenant Governor Julius here, Stratton, and I'm from Pennsylvania. The Illinois President Don Harmon, State Senator Laura Murphy, State Rep Martin Moylan, and we got great labor leaders here too.
Stop it. Get some help.
Well, we were told Black Lives Matter movement was all about